lost your debt? Have you relocated to the country? Have you started to become more self-sufficient? And have you donated to this network? Don't be a taker. Give back to those that give to you. And nobody gives more than Joe McNeil and the Micro Effect. Donate today. Make us all proud and make us strong. That's the Micro Effect and Joe McNeil.
Micro Effect. The Micro Effect.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Whole Agenda Radio Show, and I'm your host, Robert Pepino. And this evening, we have an incredible lineup. First hour, we have Dr. Leonard Horowitz, and we'll be discussing his new book, 528. And second hour of the show, we're going to have Aceleria Libertalis, and you're going to find out about her and Dr. Leonard Horowitz right after the news. So right now, we have Paul Landers with the news. Stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Effect Network. Mass medication is getting discussed more among medical experts who insist they know what is best for all of us. With water fluoridation comes the threat of adding lithium and satin drugs to our water supplies. These mass medication efforts have been seriously discussed among top medical professionals for the past few years. According to UK Daily Mail report, lithium has been heralded by some experts as the next potential fluoride, after scientists found suicide rates were lower in areas where the drinking water had higher concentrations of the element. Lithium is used for bipolar patients. It's supposed to focus our brain on the manic depressives and stabilize mood swings. Lithium works by altering the brain's normal production of serotonin and norepinephrine, which is an adrenal hormone and neurotransmitter. If the medical experts had their way placing lithium to our water supply, many would be under the influence of a mind-altering drug. The side effects range from itchy skin to hallucinations and seizures. Quite a few MDs in key positions have offered another mass medication idea via water supplies: statin drugs. Statins are promoted as heart-healthy drugs because they supposedly reduce cholesterol levels. Cholesterol as a threat to heart health has been exposed as a hoax by many health experts willing to speak out against the medical paradigm of disease for profit. Statin drugs were essentially created as something that could be sold to healthy people. even without high cholesterol, as long as the bogus cholesterol scare holds up. A study published in the Cochrane Library reviewed 14 statin drug trials that involved 34,000 patients. The researchers discovered previously undisclosed side effects of depression, mood swings, and memory loss. Other known side effects include cataracts, muscle damage, liver dysfunction, and acute kidney failure. Several conscientious MDs warned that statins could cause more harm than good and should not be prescribed unless there is imminent danger of a heart attack or stroke. The combination of fluoridation plus these drugs would be devastating for most over the long term. The phrase "trust no one" applies to medical institutions and government health agencies. We need to treat our own water while lobbying locally to stop fluoridation and resist other mass medication efforts. Idaho. Cattle rustlers, casting aside saddle and spurs for modern horsepower, are roaming the West with four-wheel drives and GPS technology in a resurgence of livestock thievery considered a hanging offense on the old frontier. State livestock officials say the increase in cattle crimes is linked to the slumping economy, soaring beef prices, and the advent of handheld global positioning systems that allow rustlers to more easily navigate the wide-open range. They said contemporary thieves may find it more convenient and lucrative to pick off a couple of cows worth as much as $2,000 a head than to rob a convenience store. Western state livestock agencies have put the value of cattle deemed lost, stolen, strayed, or in questionable ownership in recent years in the tens of millions of dollars. In Montana alone, investigators have recovered more than 7,300 stolen or missing cattle, worth nearly $8 million during the past 3 years. Today's rustlers bear little resemblance to the varmints of yore, whose crimes prompted the formation in the western United States of cattle associations that paid a bounty to bring cow thieves to justice. For starters, rustlers are now equipped with trucks and trailers that allow them to easily haul cattle to distant slaughterhouses and auction barns where rebranded animals may draw less suspicion. But any such losses or any missing animals suspected of having been stolen typically go unnoticed until late fall, when ranchers gather in their herds and sort out which animals will be kept for breeding, put up for sale, or go to slaughter. Terry Falkhauser, who's vice president of the Colorado Cattlemen's Association, said, "Cattle can even end up characterized as lost or missing rather than stolen, even though evidence may suggest theft. We have also ruled out any alien abductions." New York. A jury has awarded $1 million to a family that sued New York City after learning that their dead son's brain was on display at the city morgue. Relatives of 17-year-old Jesse Jerome Shipley say they learned through a macabre coincidence that the medical examiner's office had kept his brain and other organ parts for testing. According to Staten Island Advance newspaper, classmates of the victim's sister saw a specimen jar containing a brain labeled with Jesse's name during a field trip to the mortuary. The 14-year-old sister had been a passenger in a car crash that killed him 2 months earlier. The family said it will conduct a second burial for the brain. Florida. Authorities say they arrested a man who apparently forgot to fill up when he was robbing a gas station. Charlotte County Sheriff's Office said a 23-year-old man used a Bowie knife to rob a gas station. Deputies say the man pulled the 12-inch blade and demanded money, but when he left, a customer followed and called 911. While deputies were looking for signs of the robber, a local newspaper carrier told them that a man in a car matching the one from the robbery had run out of gas nearby. The man was arrested several hours after the robbery and charged with robbery, and he was released on $10,500 bail. And then finally, have you ever wondered, if you're not supposed to drink and drive, why do bars have parking lots? Well, that's it for me tonight. This has been Paul Landers for the Whole Agenda Radio Show. Robert will be right up with tonight's special guest. Thank you, and good night.
Welcome back, everybody, and this is the Whole Agenda Radio Show, and I'm your host, Robert Pepino, and I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving Day weekend. I know I did. It was a quiet family time for myself, but it was enjoyable, and though we are going through very difficult times, now is the time that we should all be closer together as family members, sharing more love, more energetic thoughts to our family members and to our friends and loved ones all around. But right now, for the first hour, we have Dr. Leonard Horowitz coming up. Dr. Leonard Horowitz is an internationally known authority in the overlapping fields of public health, behavioral science, emerging diseases, and natural healing. A Harvard University-trained expert in health education and media persuasion, he has additional expertise in genetics and electrogenetics, virology, and vaccine research development. By reason of his academic training, scientific publications, 16 published books, and internationally recognized authority in these fields. Over the past 30 years, he has become a best-selling author, personal care educator, consumer protector, alternative, and complementary care specialist, and by far healthcare's most controversial critic for the pharmaceutical cartel, especially following the release of his second documentary film, In Lies We Trust, the CIA, Hollywood, and bioterrorism. Dr. Horowitz published works includes dozens of peer-reviewed scientific articles and 3 American bestsellers, and Dr. Horowitz's latest book, which is an incredible book, is called The Book of 528, Prosperity, Key of Love. The book that started the 528 Love Revolution, Science, Religion, Spirituality, and Music, and his mathematical proof that love in the universe, or in the universal realm, is the healer, which connects you to God's heart, vibrating at 528 hertz on the cosmic dial. Dr. Horowitz, welcome, and thank you for being on this broadcast.
Thank you for inviting me, Robert. Pleasure to be with you.
And it's a pleasure to have you here. And I've been anticipating having you on the show. I'm really excited. You know, I followed your work for a long, long time. And I wanted to get into, before we get into the 528 book really quick, there's so much controversy in what's going on right now worldwide, but especially in the United States with the Occupy movement, and I really wanted to get your take on that.
Oh, sure. Well, I know that you had a brief conversation with a lady that I highly believe is a hero in many ways, and Sherry Kane has done some wonderful work exposing Partnership for New York City and the 9/11 terrorist attacks as being an inside job, and looking at Wall Street, and then looking at the international banking cartel that operates Big Pharma as well as the energy industry. You're looking at Wall Street, and virtually everything happens that makes the news is what's called controlled opposition. And the bankers and people like George Soros and the money managers that are looking to make people hate what's happened to America or their government, and that's not just in America but elsewhere in the world. People are increasingly disgusted with the malfeasance and corruption and fraud and, in fact, genocide, especially when you're talking about fluoride in the drinking water, or you're looking at vaccine contaminations and toxicity. You're looking at people who are not stupid. The scientists know what's going on. The doctors really, if they've studied long and hard enough, they know what's going on. People are being poisoned for profit. And that, in essence, there's a global plan for a globalization which involves the New World Order and the substitution for nation states by one world government. And so that's really what is happening on Wall Street and what's making your headline news. It's a propaganda campaign that, in essence, delivers the controlled opposition message that says our government is corrupt, the people on Wall Street are corrupt, and we need an alternative to this corruption. Otherwise, it's going to kill us and basically irreparably harm our planet, which it is doing. And that yes, we do need to do something, but what they're holding out as the remedy is a gross deception. In fact, it's kind of like the final step off the cliff, where there's no return once you allow the international industrialists to control every aspect of your life, including what goes in your body.
Well, without a question, I agree with you. And the manipulation goes to the highest level, to of course, the construct that they created, doled out through the compartmentalization of the different factions that they've created, without a question. So how do you think? I mean, everybody, I think, has their own idea how they think this can be resolved. Right now, it's just a giant protest, and everybody's basically out there. And I've tried to. Then this is my personal opinion, Dr. Horowitz. I've tried to say, okay, well, this movement that is taking place, it's a positive thing, okay. And I believe in the end, it eventually will be positive. Right now, I don't think it is. There's no common consensus as to the message that needs to be brought forward to the establishment to say, we understand, we understand, this is it. There's not one single word that would just describe this whole thing. And I know Anonymous has a lot to do with this, because really they're probably the creators of this. Now, I don't know if that's George Soros funded or not, but what I'm saying, there's a strong message that's being sent to the establishment. On the flip side of this is that we're still being poisoned every day, just like you say. I mean, I can walk out on any given day and see chemtrails being sprayed over my head. My water's still being fluoridated. The GMO foods are still being planted and served to our population on a daily basis. The aspartame and the high fructose corn syrup is in just about everything we eat and drink. So, yeah, we're working towards a change, an evolutionary change, but yet they're still able to poison us at this point. So it's so difficult with this duality of everything that's culminating right now to make heads or tails of all this.
I totally agree with everything you said. For the average person, it's virtually impossible, and that's how the control is being maintained. You have the Illuminati, the global banksters engaged in global control every which way possible, from the energy cartel, as we mentioned. You're looking at the waging of war, and then the mindset, the mass mind manipulation that's ongoing in order to continue with the divisions and the fraudulent terrorist concepts that we bought into, because the mainstream media largely has influenced our behavior and our beliefs and our attitudes. And the opportunity, I'm very clear there's two things. One is in response to how is it that someone like yourself or myself were able to see what the average person can't see. There's two books that are must-reading for anybody that is really interested in knowing what's happening today and how it reflects on history and how it reflects on globalization and how it reflects on what has been prophesied in the Bible and essentially dictated by the banksters to be our current reality. And those two books are, one is called The Report from Iron Mountain. It was leaked, I think it was 1963, published by the Dial Press. It was not ever what's called a satire. There's nothing funny about it, but the propaganda spin after it leaked had it being degraded or discredited by the false claim that it was a satire. And that satire, quote unquote, a reality that came out of a meeting of a think tank at Tavistock Institute and other major groups that met at Iron Mountain in an underground facility that reflected the technology advancements of the globalists. had intended to discuss what would happen in our world if we conceived of peace. What would happen to global economies that have been traditionally militarily based and economically driven from that perspective of dividing people, creating wars, creating dissent, and in this current case where you look at the revolution on Wall Street, this has been planned for a long time. There are concentration camps, as you know, in the United States, ready to receive hundreds of thousands of people. There's basically Homeland Security is geared up to fight this domestic terrorism and revolution. So that certainly does not appear to me to be a reasonable option to pursue exactly what has been planned to incarcerate and or kill you. So the concept is that in order to evolve into the semblance of peace on earth where you have one world governance, you had to create problems that the entire planet, all of Earth's people, would commonly consider as problems. And the obvious ones that were concluded by this think tank was ongoing worsening environmental pollution. Well, interesting that you've had in the past year or two, you've had the BP oil catastrophe and you've had the Fukushima catastrophe.
Which by the way, Dr. Horowitz, I think was completely planned.
I have to agree with you. I mean, from my perspective at what I'm looking at, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't read headlines that I had predicted 2, 3, 4 years ago, at minimum. In many cases, it's been a decade to almost 15 years that I was calling. When 9/11 happened, I sat home like most people, looking at the television. But instead of where most people was in shock, I go, "Well, I knew it was going to happen. No, here it is." You know, it's like, what else is new? Here it is. And so that's one. Environmental degradation, pollution would get all the people around the world to agree that we need to have global governance and a global protection agency, environmental protection agency like. Then there was the concept that if you created space-based threats, alien phenomenon, cosmic bullets, you know, cataclysms from stars that would collide with Earth, that kind of thing would induce an effort to fund a major Star Wars-based weaponry, space technology program that would be an economic substitute for standard militarization. So that's number 2, economic-driven peace on Earth, a la the Illuminati. Then there was the threat of global plagues. And you've obviously seen that. I was at the forefront of the H1N1 scam, the whole manipulation of the population, and it was beautiful work that Sherry Kane did exposing the fact that Rupert Murdoch, the director of News Corp, the largest media conglomerate, has major shares in Merck Pharmaceutical Company. The son, Murdoch's son, is an heir apparent, is a major mover and shaker with SmithKline Beecham, which is kind of like the main competitor to Merck. So the whole industry is set up to take advantage of that profit-making center called infectious disease and plagues that are generated in labs. And so those are 3 big ones that you can see we obviously have. And then, of course, there was kind of like wars that were like Henry Kissinger considered will have deployment of tactical nuclear weapons, you know, small weapons that wouldn't necessarily devastate like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but it would create a threat, especially a threat of terrorism, and then with threat of terrorism comes security operations that are extremely profitable. The entire industry has more than quadrupled in its trillions of dollars of expenses of what it costs us even now to even get on a plane, an airplane, because we're all considered potential terrorists, you see.
And no less to be molested while you're doing it.
Yeah, right. And so and of course hits you with radiation, so of course that helps big pharma, pharmaceutical cartels, people die of radiation exposures and toxicity and cancer threats. So this is really part of the enslavement of the human race. And the second book that gives you a complete, slam dunk on current events, even though that book came out about 1776, around the time that our nation was establishing itself in the Revolutionary period. The Rothschild family, as well as people that were heavily involved in occult, and the Freemasonry temples and the ancient mystery school secreted knowledge of how it is that alchemy is actually practiced. And that really involves the solution, but it's been held up by those who make money from the problem, not the solution. So we have a tremendous amount of knowledge, and that's where my hopes and my work currently focuses, in the solution, in the electromagnetic frequency radiations, the technology of creation. Because if we're going to recreate our planet in peace, then we've got to know how that creative technology operates. And that's the primary thing that has been suppressed. And because we're basically advancing what's called the 528 love revolution, and in the process revealing the musical mathematics of creation and retuning instruments to that tune of love that is the universal healer, and that understanding of how we are electrogenetic or bioenergetic beings that are spirit-filled, and that is what restores us and sustains us, and that is the technology, again, for sustainability and for health and healing, miracles included. So that's the kind of solution that has been suppressed. But back in 1776, when those occult devil-doer menaces were advancing the plan to take over this planet, as exactly what's happening today on every front, read the protocols for the elders of Zion. And as a Jew, I'm very proud to be a Christian Jew, but I am a Jew. And that book is supposed to be the world's #1 anti-Semitic document. Yet here you have a Jew who's telling you to read it.
And also, there's the Zionists, which has nothing to do with Judaism, but the Zionists are the ones who have partaken in this tyrannical system of control, this mechanism of tyranny that they've imposed upon us. But we're getting ready to come up here on a break. And Dr. Horowitz, I want to say this, that there's I don't believe there are any coincidences in life. I've been a musician for over 30 years in my life, and I know the frequencies that you speak of because I understand frequencies, vibration, that is frequency. And I found my peace and harmony, at least I'm still trying. Let's say I haven't found it completely, but I'm still trying to find that next level, the transformation, the escalating frequency into the next level of existence. But anyway, we're coming on a break, and we'll touch on this on the other side of the break. So everybody stick with us. This is the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Pepino, and you are listening to Dr. Leonard Horowitz with his latest book, 528 Hertz. We'll be right back after this break.
McMullen, spokesman for Life Change Tea. I want to share my enthusiasm for Life Change Tea because this product really works. I have spent many hours listening to hundreds of testimonies from people like you having their health be transformed because of this amazing product. When your mind makes the decision for a health change, Life Change Tea will help you to achieve your health goal. Reduce your weight, diminish bad bacteria, receive more energy, cleanse your skin, eliminate toxins, give health and energy to your vital organs. If you want to make a change in your health plan, call now. Call right now. 928-308-0408. Again, 928-308-0408. Or you can log on to the website at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Make up your mind and choose the right path. That's getthetea.com.
Regardless of the dollar price involved, 1 ounce of gold would purchase a good quality man's suit at the conclusion of the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the presidency of Franklin Roosevelt, and today. You may not be in the market for a new suit, but you don't know what the future may bring. And gold is the one financial constant the world has ever known. It can always provide you with your basic needs. Whether you're looking for junk silver, old silver dollar rolls, gold bullion, or fractional tradable gold pieces, Kettle Moraine is your full-service representative with over 50 years of knowledge and personal experience. Visit FlyingEagleGold.com or call us at 623-327-1778 today for competitive prices on all your gold or silver needs. If you're looking for real financial insurance, call Kettle Moraine today at 623-327-1778. That's Kettle Moraine, 623-327-1778.
Heart and Body Extract continues to receive positive testimonials from people who have experienced amazing results, like Reed.
I just wanted to send you a quick but a very big thank you for Heart and Body Extract. I've been on the formula for nearly a month now, and the improvement in the circulation of my legs has been simply amazing.
Reed was facing a tough choice.
I was facing surgery due to the severity of the 100% blocked arteries in both my legs. And my decision, waiting for surgery, to say no and try Heart and Body Extract instead, has been thankfully the right decision.
And the result?
I can now walk up steps without noticeable pain.
Order Heart and Body Extract at 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305, or hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract for a long and healthy life.
You're listening to The Micro Effect.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Pepino, and this evening, for the first hour, you're listening to Dr. Leonard Horowitz with his latest book, 528 Hertz, the process of changing our mentality, basically, science, religion, spirituality, and music. And it's the massive mathematical proof that love is a universal healer. And Dr. Horowitz, that's what I really want to touch on in the second hour. All the tyrannical things that have been created by this oligarch system, this Illuminati, we can call them whatever we want. The bottom line is that we have the ability to change what they've created, because they want a system and control structure in order to maintain exactly what they've created to continue this system of tyranny, where right now we are in the process, I believe, and this is my opinion, that we are in the process of actually changing all this. Whether Wall Street is Occupy is whatever, I think that there's an overall change taking place with humanity that we are all starting to understand that the system that we have lived under so long is completely corrupt.
Robert, I completely agree. And what you said in terms of humanity taking the next step to solution is obviously not only what's needed, but it's here. And that's exactly what we're doing with having launched 528radionetwork.com. We've got 528 radio stations. We've got 6 of them. We plan to have probably at least a dozen by the middle of next year, and we're talking about the solution being an energy vibration that's celebrated not just by the botanical world, which chose chlorophyll, greenish-yellow pigment, to receive the heart of the sun and then transform that electron resonant energy that's at the heart of not just the sun, but look at the color, heart of the rainbow. Well, as above, so below. So what's true for the sun, what's true for the rainbow is true for your heart. So what's resonating in your heart, that thing that we call love, is literally a electronic vibration, that good vibration, that then gets transported into oxygen via this incredibly miraculous pigment called chlorophyll that is virtually identical to hemoglobin, that carries that that oxygen, that prana, that breath of life through your bloodstream, and then delivers that to every single cell. But you see, what's really getting delivered is love, is pure tone 528 hertz frequency that's carried by the electrons that are spinning from the sun, which is made of about 100% hydrogen, and hydrogen is the universal donor of the electrons, giving it then to the hydroxyl group that you're familiar with that carries the electrons. So the chemistry is the simple water chemistry, H plus OH minus equals H2O.
Right.
So the solution is water. The solution is the universal solvent, water, that gives us all the energy that we would ever need to produce anything, whether it's energizing our cars. There's hydrogen fuels now that are developing that have been suppressed. The whole concept of hydrogen fuel is revolutionary, evolutionary, and clean.
I agree with you 100%, Dr. Horowitz, because I've done my own experience with the hydrogen. I have 3 prototype models sitting in my garage. They all work, except that the powers that be decided that they had to relieve us of whatever fictitious money system that they created. I have less of it, so I could not continue with my experiments. But you are 100% correct that it does work, and it works very well.
Beautiful. You know, there's leaders that are, like yourself, that are grasping the greater truth and think about it from also, if you know an engine can work with basically hydrogen donating electrons, then you know that's how everything within our own metabolism operates. Now you take the secret of pharmaceutical chemistry, the hocus pocus of drug abuse, really, and intoxication. That's what pharmaceutical industry is really all about, and medicine is barbaric, because here you are trying to treat an energy being with pollutants and chemicals and heavy metal toxins that would cause, if your liver was an oil filter, it would be completely clogged up within a couple months. You know, at least you take your car for an oil filter change every 5,000 miles. But what the hell do you do with your liver when you're so intoxicated and polluted? You know, it's a revolution in understanding the simplest way that the universe operates and nature celebrates, heralded right in front of your eyes with the color of the botanical world. That is the color of your heart chakra. That is the color of love. That is the color that if we really want to heal ourselves, that's the vibration, the good vibration that we'll turn to.
That was so beautifully stated. I don't even know how to respond, because the reality of what you just said is that if everybody would just pay attention to what we are, what this world is created of, we could see through the ridiculous nonsense that has been perpetrated on this planet. And I'm not even going to the Illuminati at this point. What I'm simply saying is this, that if we as human beings could realize the potential of what we have been given on this planet, the natural resources, we could transform ourselves. And that's what it really comes down to, is the self-transformation in order to achieve the next level of enlightenment, wisdom, love, and the potential change for humanity to stop the ridiculous behavior that has been created for so long.
Right. And, the change that is taking place in you and me and our friends, our real close, colleagues, the people who we really tell the truth to, we're all having a hard time.
Extremely.
It's really hard, man,
Extremely.
to look at yourself and to see where it is that you're crazy. Because we've all taken on insanity. We're all part of this culture whereby we're killing ourselves because that's what makes money for the industrialists. That's what they want us to do. That's what they've trained us to accept. The whole consumer, instead of production, you have consumption. That word used to mean disease. Death by disease, consumption. It's a sum total con. The entire thing is a con. And we were raised with it in television. The teachers taught us in school. Our peers fought over the stupid stuff. Candies, whatever. We identified and attached meaning in life to that which was a con. And now...
Put real meaning to it. Exactly.
Okay, so what's really meaningful? What's really meaningful is right in front of your eyes. It's that beautiful green botanical world that is sustaining things. When animals get sick, dogs or cattle, they eat grass. When cancer patients are thrown out of medical centers, sent home to die, where do they go? They go to natural healing clinics, and they do wheatgrass juice fasts. And in many, many cases, the miracle of healing takes place. How come? It's taking place because it's obvious. There is a vibration, a musical, mathematical inspiration of spiritual sustaining in love. And that is what we all have in our hearts. We want that. We crave that. That's what really our longing and what's missing in our lives is that bond, not only to God, heart to heart, creator and created, but each other, because we're all part of this divine family. And instead of now fighting and feuding over stupid stuff that we all get attached to, because we've got these things called the egos.
Right.
And the ego operates on a different vibe.
The attachment runs so deep, Dr. Horowitz.
Well,
with so many people.
The Book of 528. That's what the Book of 528. It's completely monumental and revolutionary. You read that book, the Book of 528, Prosperity Key of Love, and you will never look at anything, including yourself, the same way again. You'll honor you. You'll honor you for being a glorious, miraculous creation of the Most High. And then, if you want to really make a difference in the world, you don't have to struggle. All you have to do is sing and play the music. Why? Because the entire universe, we found out from NASA, is full of water. Our atmosphere is completely hydrated, even in the desert. And water is a liquid crystal superconductor of sound and light. And so what you do when you play music in 528, like we did with the launch of 528 records, and you can transpose all your music into 528 hertz frequency of love, instead of where it is now, thanks to the Rockefeller Foundation in 1938, instituting the Western world's standard tuning, A440, directly from military acoustic weapons research and development, how to induce psychosocial stress to the max. including how to induce in targeted war arenas or populations targeted with these dissonant frequencies, how to induce, quote, mass hysteria, end quote, so that 6 to 8% of the population that receives the signal of A440 standard tuning, which gives you, since you're a musician, you'll understand what I'm saying. You know that core chromatic tuner that you've got, the little black one for tuning guitar strings?
Yes.
Okay, so that comes defaulted at A440 standard tuning because of what I'm telling you. 1938, Rockefeller Foundation hired Joseph Goebbels, Nazi propaganda minister for the Third Reich, to promote it because they couldn't sell it to the European musicians. So they hired the best propagandist in the world, who's soon thereafter working for Hitler, to persuade the British Standards Institute to institute A440 standard tuning. That's why that core chromatic tuner comes today with A440. Now, if you understand your D chord, where you've got an F sharp in your D chord, which is a very commonly played note when you're in standard tuning, your F sharp stimulates your ego. It's called 741. It's 741 cycles per second or hertz frequencies. That is natural, Robert. It's one of those frequencies of nature. It's part of what is called the 9 core creative frequencies I call the perfect circle of sound.
So Dr. Horowitz, can I ask you this real quick?
Sure.
Is that why when I play a certain chord that there's a stimulated vibrational frequency that comes out of me that makes me feel energetic, vibrant? It makes me feel, and I'm going to use this word, orgasmic, I guess. And then there's other chords that I will play a diminished or seventh or whatever it may be, or just a minor chord, where it creates no reaction from me at all.
It's exactly what I'm telling you. And let me give you the actual technical terms for what you just mentioned. It's not orgasmic in musicology, but I completely agree. In musicology, they use the term frisson. F-R-I-S-S-O-N.
I'm familiar with that, yes.
And that is part of what's called ecstatic listening, where you get goosebumps and you get this shivers, chills up and down your spine, or a kundalini rush of energy going right up your chakra system. You feel euphoric, and your endorphin release, your joy hormones skyrocket, and you are in ecstasy. In essence, at that moment, and the greatest musicians and vocalists experience that when they're performing. Their bodies become that Holy Spirit-filled temple where they are one with the source of inspiration. It's coming through their hearts, not their heads, not from the ego. It's coming directly from love in the center of your heart, and you know that as a musician. That's true.
Well, I can attest to that because I've had that feeling.
Yes. So that's what's 528. That is the 528 hertz frequency. Now, the F sharp, where you talked about the diminished fifth or the augmented fourth, it's called in classical musicology the devil's tone, the devil's interval. That frequency is 741. That is the F sharp note when you are into the Rockefeller standard tuning. A440 stimulates your F sharp ego. It is the death note. It is what causes the vast majority of the spiritual suppression that makes humanity susceptible to the insanity. We're programmed because we're spiritual beings first. We're programmed by the most advanced spiritual or bio-spiritual warfare technology.
Does
Music
that
is
also
it.
trigger? I'm sorry, Dr. Horowitz. Does that also trigger the ego at the same time that 714 frequency is being played?
Yes. Think about now in the context of society, of civilization, where are we today compared to maybe 100 years ago? People had respect and honored God. Today we honor science and the gods of medicine, called medical deities or MDs. We have shifted from a heartfelt, intuitive, natural understanding and instinct of what is true, what is healing, what is uplifting and sustaining, to a fraud, to a deception, to an illusion that there's mass-mediated, mind-controlled outcome. And that is where we're at. To get out of that, it's easy. It's not something we have to go to war over. All it amounts to is simply acknowledging the truth that shall set us free. And that truth is we are the music. We
you
are
stated that so beautifully. We are the music.
We are the music. The best definition of who you are, all of us as human beings, and I believe we're divinely human. We're in the divine family. Especially if you're into Jesus, you're into Yeshua, you understand. The ministry was about love. That's all it was about. It was about the divine family, that we're all capable of walking on water. That was the mission, and that was the vision of 1,000 years of world peace for the Messianic age. That concept now has been definitively revealed. We're talking about 528 hertz, that is the C note, and musicians always start their octaves and tuning in C. The C note, when you tune up to A444, and if you were to just for the fun of it do a search on the internet or read the book of 528, you'll see that 444, that number is assigned to Jesus. I kid you not. And the love message. Long before I even discovered this. That's been up on the internet. And so the concept, when you tune now, you take that Korg chromatic tuner and you go up 4 hertz to A444, your C goes right in sync with the love of God. Right in sync with what is being celebrated by nature to be the most sustaining and oxygen-producing pigment in the universe, chlorophyll. And the sacred geometry of that molecule is manifested what's called cymatically. The energy of the sound on matter changes the form of the matter. That's called the science of cymatics. That's why, and that science proves Genesis to be accurate. Because in the beginning, you had God. You had, at the same time there was God, you had water. So if you really do your Bible study, water is part of the triune God. The other third is the Holy Spirit. So God, Holy Spirit, and water is the original Trinity. And then in Genesis 1:2, what have you got? The introduction of the music for creation. It's called the Word. In the beginning there was the Creator, and then the Holy Spirit in Genesis 1:2 hovers over the face of the water. So the Holy Spirit hovers over the face of itself in liquid form, in liquid crystal superconductor form, and then creates, because of the energy, the electrons, a dome or firmament, or what the physics world calls this quantum field, into which the sound, the words, let there be light. It was sung. It wasn't spoken. And out pops the sun. And if you look at the most advanced acoustic beings in the universe, they're called the cetacea or the dolphins and whales. Look at what the capability is of the dolphin, for example, to be able to not just sonically tune into your body and diagnose the aberrant vibrational frequencies associated with your disease or dysfunction, like they do with the autistic children. And then they sonically, after diagnosing, just out of empathy and love, they just sonically bless you so that you heal miraculously and the children leave the water healed. And if that's not good enough, you look at what they do with bubble rings. Playing. Like we play with footballs and baseballs, they play with bubble rings underwater, and they sonically vibrate those bubbles so hot it approaches 5,000 degrees, and out pops light. It's called sonoluminescence.
I'm very familiar with that. I'm very, very familiar with that. And I think in that case, too, they've also talked about that, in essence, also being what is the word that I'm looking for here? Cold fusion.
Because again, this is the source of everything is sound. So here's the cure. So again, the definition of who you are and the cure for what ails us. You are a digital, bioholographic precipitation, crystallization, miraculous manifestation of divine frequency vibrations coming out of water.
Right.
And so to treat you, all you got to do is go to love, the universal healer. You sync with 528, or what the physics world calls you phase lock, or when the musicians and yourself included, when you've experienced being in with the flow, it's called, in vocalist language, registered. Your voice becomes registered. You see some of the top performers, they go into this kind of like, it looks like a trance state where their bodies become the instruments. And it's no thought is involved. It's a pure expression of love and joy to bless the audience. Now we're talking about blessing the audiences globally with the healing frequency of 528 by simply tuning up 4 hertz to A444, puts you right in sync with God's love. And, baby, there's your 1,000 years of world peace. Because of the hydrated atmosphere, the water through the atmosphere conducts
Dr. Horowitz, I'm sorry that the hour went so fast. I would love to have you back on this program because 1 hour is just simply not enough with all the information you have. I would truly love to have you back on if you're willing to do that, because this has been an incredible conversation.
Love you, Robert. I'd be happy to join you.
Okay. Thank you so much, and I will get in touch with you, and I will have you back on this broadcast. I thank you, and I bless you, and I will definitely read your book, sir.
Thank you, sir. Love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And everybody, this is the Whole Agenda Radio Show. Stick with us. Next hour, we have Aedsales Libertalis with us in the second hour. Stick with us. Be right back after the break.
Hi, I'm Ronnie McMullen, spokesman for Life Change Tea. I want to share my enthusiasm for Life Change Tea because this product really works. I have spent many hours listening to hundreds of testimonies from people like you having their health be transformed because of this amazing product. When your mind makes the decision for a health change, Life Change Tea will help you to achieve your health goal. Reduce your weight, diminish bad bacteria, receive more energy, cleanse your skin, eliminate toxins, give health and energy to your vital organs. If you want to make a change in your health plan, call now. Call right now. 928-308-0408. Again, 928-308-0408. Or you can log on to the website at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Make up your mind and choose the right path. That's getthetea.com.
Regardless of the dollar price involved, 1 ounce of gold would purchase a good quality man's suit at the conclusion of the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the presidency of Franklin Roosevelt, and today. You may not be in the market for a new suit, but you don't know what the future may bring. And gold is the one financial constant the world has ever known. It can always provide you with your basic needs. Whether you're looking for junk silver, old silver dollar rolls, gold bullion, or fractional tradable gold pieces, Kettle Moraine is your full-service representative with over 50 years of knowledge and personal experience. Visit FlyingEagleGold.com or call us at 623-327-1778 today for competitive prices on all your gold or silver needs. If you're looking for real financial insurance, call Kettle Moraine today at 623-327-1778. That's Kettle Moraine, 623-327-1778.
And Body Extract continues to receive positive testimonials from people who have experienced amazing results, like Reed.
I just wanted to send you a quick but a very big thank you for Heart and Body Extract. I've been on the formula for nearly a month now, and the improvement in the circulation of my legs has been simply amazing.
Reed was facing a tough choice.
I was facing surgery due to the severity of the 100% blocked arteries in both my legs. And my decision, waiting for surgery, to say no and try Heart and Body Extract instead, has been thankfully the right decision.
And the result?
I can now walk up steps without noticeable pain.
Order Heart and Body Extract